Hello TikTokers, I'm the Biblical Translator and today's scripture is taken from 2 Corinthians 7. Because we have these promises, dear friends, let us cleanse ourselves from everything that can defile our body or spirit, and let us work toward complete holiness because we fear God. Please open your hearts to us. We have not done wrong to anyone, nor led anyone astray, nor taken advantage of anyone. I'm not saying this to condemn you. I said this before, that you are in our hearts and we live or die together with you. I have the highest confidence in you and I take quite great pride in you. You have greatly encouraged me and made me happy despite all our troubles. So what do I get from this? What I tend to do, if you're the first time listening, is I read the Bible, I see what kind of vibration I get from it, and I can make it relevant today, as opposed to something that's been written eons ago, and I cannot relate to it. So I share how I feel about what I've read with my listeners, or my subscribers, or my followers. So in this particular scripture, it says, let us cleanse ourselves from everything that can defile our body or spirit, and let's work towards complete holiness because we fear God. Now, what kinds of things defile our body or our spirit and our mind even? When you think about what can defile, some people think about big things like debauchery, prostitution, robbery, murder. They think of grand, incidences that could defile their mind and their body. But the biggest culprit that defiles our mind, our heart, our body and soul is our thoughts. All it takes is a thought to defile your mind, to defile your body. That thought could be, I can't stand that person. I'm not going to help them today. I'm not going to do anything that's going to help move them forward. It could be something like, that person I don't like that person. Therefore, I'm not going to talk to that person, and I'm going to let everybody else know that that person isn't a nice person. Our thoughts govern our behavior and our actions. And because our thoughts govern our behavior and our actions, they govern our mind and our hearts. And what gives rise to those thoughts in the first place? Discontent, usually. Sometimes it's resentment, sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's ignorance. You just don't know any better. But there are a lot of things that we can do just because of our thoughts that defile us. And we need to change that. They say if you change your thoughts, you can change your mind. And I believe this to be true. Last night I was coming home and I was so exhausted and frustrated. I'd had a challenging day at work. I work in a very challenging environment, mentally, usually, as opposed to physically. And I left work I didn't leave work feeling exhausted. At the end of the day, I was exhausted. And I went into the prayer room. And when I went into the prayer room, it was talking about what Christians have to go through. When I was reading Corinthians yesterday, and how we have to suffer, and what we have to do as Christians, and what we have to endure as Christians. And with that thought, in a strange kind of way, instead of making me feel frustrated, it calmed me. It didn't calm me completely, but it made me feel, Myrna, this is where you're meant to be. This is what you're meant to endure. And, what I endure compared to people who are being tortured in prison or tortured in different parts of the world or being deprived and being starved is nothing. Nothing. But in that moment, we don't think about people who are worse off than us, do we? We're thinking about ourselves, woe is me. And because we're thinking about woe is me, and everything's happening to me, and why doesn't it happen to anybody else, and this has happened and that's happened to me, and oh, woe, woe, woe. We have a victim mentality. And because we have a victim mentality, it makes us look at people differently. It makes us suspicious of people. It makes us harder to love people. People have to prove themselves in order for us to love them. We can't love them off the bat. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, years for somebody to deserve our love. Just because we feel hard done by. Just because we feel the world has been against us and has done things to us. So we punish people who come into our lives by not giving of ourselves. And I'm not talking about rescuing people. I'm talking about just showing genuine love. And where you can't help, signposting people to other people. So those who are experts in that area, they can help, they can step in. You're not helping anyone by rescuing them. All you're doing is delaying their progress. Everybody's been put on this earth to serve a purpose, and people's life is meant to challenge them. It's meant to force them to find their own way home. You're not supposed to give them directions unless they ask for them, but you're not supposed to offer directions. Because what you do is you take people off track. You shortchange them. A lot of people think they're helping people who've made bad decisions by rescuing them. And it's not true. You have to try to enable that person to look after him or herself. So the thoughts that we have, because we've been hard done by in our lives, because someone's hurt us or betrayed us, kind of manifest into actions. And what I'm saying is that those thoughts are what defile you. So in the morning, you'll have to watch your thoughts, monitor your thoughts. When you say something or think something, ask yourself, why did I think that? Why do I need to do this? Why did I say that? Evaluate your behavior and evaluate why you do the things you do. What else does it say? Please open your hearts to us. And this is just talking about opening your heart generally, freeing yourself from that remorse, freeing yourself from guilt, freeing yourself from hatred and anger and frustration and resentment. Opening your hearts so that you can love openly and freely without expecting anything in return. Too many people's love is conditional. They'll only love you if you do this. As soon as you don't please them, they switch off and they've gone about their business. So that's not love. That conditional love is not love. We need to love with the unconditional love of Christ, of God. So that doesn't take people's actions for us to switch off and go our own way. So we need to have an open heart. We need to have a giving heart that's not dependent on what somebody does for you to do